Send it. Work it. Uh-oh. Well, I don't care anymore. I just don't care anymore about all the Jim-Jims in this town. All the politicians making crazy sounds. Whoops. Hold on. And then all these things are set to the wrong dimensions. Parallels, okay. Welcome to Saturday Night Live. Not a fan of that. Well, I guess we'll just have to work with that for now. My monitor settings are all messed up. If I point it down or something more. So. No, that doesn't help. It's the literal, the actual elevation of the. There we go. That's a little better. It feels more comfortable. So I just came back from Irvine today, doing a little field research over there. I feel like I've seen Irvine. I don't intend to go back. You know. I don't have any intention of going back. You know, I think it's been, what's been said has been said. Going there, personally, for me, other people, I highly recommend people go there. If you're an neurons researcher and you're curious about EAR's modus operandi and how he picked houses and how he attacked, then I of course recommend go to Irvine. For me, I've been there. This is not working out on that shelf, so I don't really see a reason to go back, to be honest with you. I'm going to do a stream like NASA and have cables annoy. That's just how it goes sometimes. Staring at the sun sometimes. Okay, how about over here? I mean, I don't have any reason to go back to Irvine, though, at this point. Having seen it again. This time we came from the Sycamore Park direction, which is a direction that... that EAR would have come from on the night of the attack. And I get it there. You know, I understand it. But I recommend it for people. Saturday Night Live. Chicka picka what? It's like you're getting old, man. Can't do that anymore. It used to be cool. You know, now it's cool like once a year to stay up late and be like, let's stream for 4 hours on coffee. That's not one of those nights, man. Tonight is just not one of those fucking nights. Nothing new has happened. Obviously, you guys saw that Candace Owens was saying some insane shit. I commented on it. Candace Owens is tripping. And I'm serious, guys. The funny thing is, I'm genuinely, truly, honestly fucking serious right now. You see my email address at the bottom of the page of the video screen. It says newcokesbandofasion@gmail.com. Candace Owens, send me the front and back of your insurance card, or even just contact me, and I will help you get health insurance. And I mean it. You know, I'd help get Candace Owens into treatment. She's tripping. At first I thought it was trauma. Now it's like she's capitalizing on it. And it's like, oh, okay, you're a snake in the grass. I get it. So many snakes in the grass on the internet. But that's the part of the problem is people just allow it to come into their circle. Like if you know, Bart Sibrel showed up in my chat, he'd probably get banned. You know. Some people they chase the clout. They're like, oh man, I want Bart Sibrel in my chat. I'd be like, ban him. I don't have Archangel Mike to be my Coddington anymore, but back in the day, I'd be like, Coddington, ban him. And he'd be like, banned. He'd be like, what happened to you? And I'd be like, I'm only available on SoundCloud. What the fuck? He does have a SoundCloud, though. You know. But if Bart Sibrel came on here... You know what's funny, guys? Honestly, if Bart Sibrel showed up here, I would just ban him. I wouldn't even give him a platform. I tried when I was 14. A little bit, like I talked to him online and helped him get his word out and stuff. And completely removed from that, with absolutely no bias, no, preconceived notions based on that experience. If Bart Sibrel showed up here, I would ban him. Because I just don't even want to hear it, In the documentary, Sibrel.com, and the astronauts, funny thing happened on the way to the moon, all this stuff. It's like, can you go back to 2002 with your documentary? It is 2026. It's time for a new documentary. You can make a new documentary. I've made new documentaries. Since the time that A Funny Thing Happened on the Way to the Moon came out, and from A Funny Thing Happened, and the Fox documentary, from the time that came out to now, I've made numerous documentaries. You can make more documentaries, Bart. But I wouldn't want him to be here, but, peddling those documentaries. The only one that I actually like of those documentaries is Astronauts Gone Wild. But only because the premise of it is completely insane. It's honestly, like, crazy. Like, if Bart Sibrel was trolling, if Bart Sibrel publicly acknowledged and made obvious that he was trolling, then I would really like Astronauts Gone Wild. But the problem with all of the movies, and especially that one, because it's the only one that has a fighting chance at being a good film, is that he takes it seriously. He's very serious, Bart Sibrel, what he's telling you guys. There's no joking. If he's on there telling the astronauts, either he's a liar or you're a liar. It's like, dude, calm down. Haven't you gotten out? Haven't you fucking exited puberty yet? Like, just relax. It's not that big of a fucking deal. You don't have to call Charlie Duke a fucking liar, dude. He's not, So anyway, so then, like, Bart takes it all really fucking seriously, and he's like chasing the astronauts around, and he's like, swear on the Bible that you walked on the moon. And it's like, this would be really funny if you didn't take it seriously. Like, if we all knew that you were joking, and if it was all a big fucking joke, Bart, that film would be in the fucking annals of history, dude. It's such a good movie if he's not serious. You know what I mean? Like, Bart trolling and chasing the astronauts around and saying, swear on the Bible that you walked on the moon, is comedy gold. That's classic. Bart having a nervous fucking breakdown, probably withdrawing from SNRIs, chasing astronauts around and fucking freaking out. And, like, for real, it's like, dude, like, someone call the fire department. It's not even funny anymore. It's, like, serious at that point. It's like, is this guy going to hurt an astronaut? But before that, like, if he's trolling, it is amazing. It's great cinema. And the sad fact of the matter is that he's not trolling. He means it. So if Bart showed up here, I'd ban him. Because we understand he's not trolling. I would even allow the trolling in my chat. I've allowed worse in my chat. If he showed up, or if someone else showed, I don't know what to say. If Bart showed up trolling, he might get a shot to be here. But coming in here all serious, calling Charlie Duke a liar, freaking out about the quote-unquote Earth orbital footage for fucking 27 years, it's not getting anywhere, Bart. Nobody wants to see that. It's alarming, really. Guys, put this shit in perspective. All my viewers know that I'm a 9/11 truther. right? Like, everybody knows that about me. If you've been on this channel, you're like, oh, he thinks that, you know, the CIA and other actors utilized technology we literally don't even understand and can't comprehend to orchestrate an extremely sophisticated and technologically advanced assault that was used for, among other things, profiteering motives and mass mind control motives, and beamed through every American household on the television. Everybody knows I think that about 9/11. Nobody thinks that I think it was fucking box cutters and fucking dudes from caves and all this bullshit. Obviously, it's not that, right? But you don't see me chasing around state officials for 28 years or more. I'm only 29. So, but anyway, the point is, you don't see me chasing around state officials going, swear on the Bible that it was fucking 19 hijackers with box cutters. Swear on the Bible, you fucking liar, you fucking traitor. You don't see me chasing people around like that in my middle age. That's the problem with Bart Sibrel. And dude, if you want, like, people, you don't see it. Like, smoke a joint, calm down, and look at what you're doing, Bart Sibrel. Look at what you're doing, Bart Sibrel. Because it isn't professional. It's supposed to be professional. Like, his appearance on Danny Jones is him at his professional best. He has, like, a fucking button-down shirt on. And he's like, Charlie Duke, either he's a liar or you're a fucking liar. It's like, dude, aren't you 70? Relax. You could go on that show and be like, Charlie Duke, I don't believe you walked on the moon. But that's because I think I've seen certain evidence. If the evidence is compelling enough, it's presented to me, I am completely open and willing to accepting the fact that you, sir, walked on the moon. Either way, I'm just here along for the ride on the show. You know, here's some of the interesting stuff I've seen. Maybe I don't think you landed on the moon. We all have a laugh. It's all good. Chasing fucking astronauts around and getting punched by them when you're 40. It's not a good look, Bart. You know. But if he's trolling, then it's great. It's Kaufman tier, you know? It's Kaufman tier. I couldn't do that. Dude, you have to be a legend. If Bart Sibrel really wants to save face, guys, let's say Bart Sibrel eventually comes to his senses and he's like, oh my god, I've been looking crazy online for 15 years or more. For 27 years or more. Here, I know the solution. I'm going to pass it off as trolling. And if expertly orchestrated, if performed, with finesse and skill, coming out as the greatest troll since Kaufman is a possibility for Sibrel. But not if he continues to take everything so fucking seriously, and that's why I wouldn't want him on this show. We do serious research on this show. We also know how to joke about stuff. Like, you know how if you guys think I'm crazy because I think that steel was vaporizing in midair on 9/11, that's fine, and a lot of you probably do think I'm fucking crazy for that. A lot of my friends on this channel probably think I am wild. They're like, you guys, New Cokes is tripping. He thinks that steel was vaporized in midair on 9/11. And that there is a very real possibility that the Zodiac Killer was the devil. And we're still friends if you guys say that about me. And we all think it's funny. You don't see me chasing down Robert Graysmith with a Bible. Dude, that would be so funny to chase Robert Grace, to do like a sketch, like a comedy sketch, to chase Robert Graysmith around with a Bible and a copy of the Zodiac book, and just be like, swear on the Bible that Arthur Lee Allen is the Zodiac, and have him like trying to get away. It's like, I will donate $10,000 in charity if you swear on the Bible that Arthur Lee Allen was the Zodiac killer. And just do it up like a whole Sibrel skit. And, I mean, Sibrel will probably fucking cease and desist. It's like, Sibrel, just calm down. Sibrel is the kind of guy who would be doing cease and desists. You're never going to see me do a cease and fucking desist. Can you imagine if someone had it on record like a cease and desist from New Cokes? It's like, dude, I'll just fucking not look at your website. Your website is stupid. Anyway, I'm sorry for that. A cease and desist. What the fuck is that even supposed to do? Look at how well that's going over for fucking you-know-who over on Manny's channel. Every time they send a cease and desist, Manny fucking Xeroxes the fucking document and puts it publicly. That's crazy. I'm not saying Sibrel... Now, I've never seen Sibrel do a cease and desist. I'm not saying he has done one. I'm not saying that. But he just seems like the type. It's like, Sibrel, just calm down. Go back on Danny Jones and make it all right, Bart. You know, and you know he's gonna see this because anything that has his name, he fucking watches it. Guarantee it. It's not a bad thing. I don't dislike Bart Sibrel. I don't know if he would make it past. Bart, if you can watch this video and watch this far in, just know I'm actually trying to help you. Just calm down. You don't have to chase Neil Armstrong around with the Bible anymore. Now, of course, Neil's dead, but who's that? What up, Zap? You know, but it's very Andy Kaufman-esque. It's way Kaufman tier to chase astronauts around with a Bible and be like, swear to God, swear on the Bible that you walked on the moon. That's fucking hilarious if you're joking. If you're not joking, not funny. If you're not joking, it's like, dude, calm down. It's not even that big of a deal. You don't need a film crew for that. You know, but if you're joking, it's gold. It's almost too bad that Bart Sibrel stole that idea before someone could make it funny. That's the thing. It's like one of those missed opportunities in comedic history. Bart Sibrel's natural career progression. Hey, I was going to do this skit, but then this guy, Bart Sibrel, came along and lived it. Missed opportunity. Dude, chasing astronauts around at diners with their families and being like, swear on the Bible that you walked on the moon is hilarious. That's gold comedy. But you have to be joking. If you're not joking, it's not comedy anymore. It's concerning. And that's the thing. And Bart can go back on the Danny Jones show. Probably. I mean, you know, obviously I can't speak for Danny Jones or anything. But I'm sure I don't know what Danny Jones was going to say after that. Guys, it was pretty hard to watch, man. You know, Bart Sibrel was like... Bart Sibrel looked like he was sitting on a railroad spike the entire time. And the tip of that spike was scratching the section of his brain responsible for reminding him that he believes the moon landings were faked. And the entire time he was just like this. If you look at this fucking evidence from 30 years ago, it's like, dude, calm down, man. So I don't know what, like, it was hard to watch. And Charlie Duke crushed it. Charlie Duke did something so great at one point. He was like, Bart Sibrel said, "Why are you here?" Oh my God. This is how uptight and insane Bart Sibrel is. Guys, listen to this. Are you fucking ready for this? I fucking forgot about this. It's gold. Okay, so Bart Sibrel says, Charlie Duke, why are you here? And Charlie Duke is like, what do you mean? And he's like, if I went to the moon, or if I climbed Mount Everest, and I was known for climbing Mount Everest, and I did all this and that, right? And some guy said I didn't do that, I'm not going to buy airplane tickets and a hotel and and come on the radio show. So why are you here, Charlie Duke? And Charlie Duke goes, I'm just here because he asked me to sit here and tell my story about. Oh, you got guinea pigs? Yeah. Yeah, we got two of them. He's like, I'm just here to tell my story of how I went to the moon. And in that moment, it becomes so clear to the viewer that Bart Sibrel has no fucking idea his own self-inflated sense of importance. Charlie Duke going on the Danny Jones podcast has nothing to do with him trying to, quote, debunk Bart Sibrel. No one fucking cares enough to debunk Bart Sibrel, especially... No, he didn't name one Zap. They're both females. Or Lily and Sadie. That's like Bart Sibrel believes that Charlie Duke came on the Danny Jones show just to argue that he went to the moon against Bart Sibrel, who is so well known for promoting the idea that Charlie Duke didn't go to the moon. It's like, no, you've got this whole thing twisted, Bart Sibrel. And Charlie Duke's like, just looks at him like, what the fuck, dude? And Bart Sibrel's running around. You think aliens are real? Yeah. I don't know, man. I really don't know. Probably, right? If the space is what they say it is, which I guess it is. If space is what they say it is, and I'm not one to say I'm questioning that anymore. You know, I mean, I haven't been there, but I don't know what space is like. But if it is what they say it is, and aliens, yeah, there's probably some aliens out there, man. But Bart Sibrel's problem, fundamentally, as a researcher and as a personality, and why he doesn't get along with any fucking person that he ever talks to. Bart Sibrel doesn't get along with anyone he talks to. You guys know that? He talked to me when I was 14, and I ghosted him for fucking 15 years. I ghosted Bart Sibrel. I had the presence of mind at 14 years old to be like, I don't want to talk to this guy. This guy's crazy. Everybody, is that the guy who... Yeah, is that the guy Buzz punched? Correct. It's the guy Buzz Aldrin punched in the face. I had the presence of mind at fucking 14 to be like, I'm not talking to this Bart Sibrel guy anymore. He's crazy. And everyone else knows that too about Bart Sibrel. It was actually really surprising to me that, you know, that Danny Jones had him on his show, because apparently Danny doesn't get the memo that all of us had to learn the hard way. Guys, Bart Sibrel isn't a big enough deal that word gets around, okay? So if you've had the experience of interacting with him, it's like Todd Standing. Like, I've never talked to Todd Standing, okay? But this is from what I hear from Sasquatch type people. It's like this with Todd Standing. It reminds me of it. If you've ever had an interactions with Bart Sibrel, which I have, you become very disillusioned by the character and the pleasure of interacting with Bart Sibrel. And I think that a lot of other people, and that's why one of the reasons I said if he showed up here, I'll just ban him, because I just don't even want to talk to him. And so the fact that Danny Jones was like, hey, Bart, can you come in and do a fucking 4-hour show? It's like, I don't think Danny Jones knows who Bart Sibrel is. Everybody who interacts with Bart Sibrel comes away from it like, ugh. You know. I mean, maybe the Grissom family, supposedly, but, like, if that's all true, if Bart Sibrel gets along so well with the Grissom family and has all these, like, whistleblowers and shit, then why are the interviews that he has with them 25 years old? Important question. If someone is my friend or someone like that I work with on a regular basis, or that I have a regular interaction with, someone who we bounce ideas around and we're talking stuff, I generally would have some kind of interview or content or some kind of a reference, contemporary reference to that person, more recent than the Fox special from 2001. So maybe good friends with the Grissams, I'm not sure. But what I do know is that in my personal experience, coming away from interacting with Bart Sibrel, I was very disillusioned, and I think a lot of other people get that too. I'm trying to remember where else I've seen him. Oh, you got a new laptop or something? No, the computer's on the dresser. We moved houses, so it's a whole new arrangement now. I'm just trying to figure out what works and what doesn't. A lot of my cables are too short, so it's like it's not ideal right now. But I'm gonna get it fixed up. You know, but the only reason that all this is true about Bart Sibrel is because he can't just calm down, Bart Sibrel. If they're faking footage of being 200,000 miles away, I miss that. I know, me too, a little bit. But you know what I like about not having it is it's less distraction for me, and it means that if I want to go live and stuff like that, I'm like right here with my wife, instead of like I'm gonna go to the other room and and then she sometimes will feel left out. But she's at the store. Bart Sibrel, like if he was like, okay, they're faking footage of being 200,000 miles away on the way to the moon from the Earth. Isn't that weird? Ha 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 ha. Then we'd be like, it's pretty weird, Bart, actually. What's up with that? And we'd look at it. If he's like, I had to bribe the CIA. His documentaries are so fucking dramatic, dude. That's another thing. It's off-putting to people, Bart. It was in style in 2002. If you did a documentary in 2002 and you were like, I brought the CIA, dun, 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 with like slides and a narrator and like a deep dramatic voice and like fucking transitions, fucking stock footage, fucking with the fucking Ken Burns effect and all this shit happening, right? If you did that in 2002, you were elite. Now people are like, what the fuck is that? And Bart's still running around trying to market this thing. And it's like boom, 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 boom. Or could it be that I stole it from the CIA? It's too much, dude. It's too much. And chasing the astronauts around with stacks of cash and a Bible and being dead fucking serious. Look how quickly his hair fell out. People are like, oh yeah, but you're going to curse yourself. It's like, I don't care. I want that to happen eventually, so. But I do want it to go gray first, fully. Anyway. Bart, dude, like, if you just come at this a different way, be like, all this is really weird, the radiation thing. Probably people are going to die going to, especially they're about to go back to the moon in less than a month. What's he going to say then? Dude, Bart Sibrel is so fucked right now, it's unbelievable. They're about to go back to the moon in a month. Less than a month. People are flying to the moon. And all the moon hoaxers, Gerard White, dude, oh my god, what is Gerard White going to say? We have to find out right now. Damn, he posts some weird-ass fucking shit on YouTube now. He doesn't even talk about Apollo anymore. But I think what happened was... Okay, you know what's the funniest part of all this shit here? So Jera went to school. Yeah, we dying cough. Jera went to school to become an astrophysicist and a geologist. Gosh, my wife took the vape though. I can need it right now. Jera went to school to become an astrophysicist and a geologist. And he took a lot of time off from making videos as a result of being in this school for that coursework. When he came back from school, he was like, I'm a geologist. And then he did another update, I'm an astrophysicist, or whatever he's doing, you know. I don't remember exactly if he's an astrophysicist yet, but the point is, I think he is, or whatever. And what you'll notice is that at that exact same time, he damn sure stopped talking about the Apollo moon landings being faked. Man of many talents. Yeah. He damn sure stopped posting videos about the moon landings being faked. And people asked him, and they're like, hey, do you still think Apollo was fake? He's like, yeah, of course Apollo was fake. But his actions speak louder than his words. You know? When you come back from getting a fucking solid education of this stuff, and then you're like, oh, turns out all that crazy bullshit that I've been talking about for the last fucking 10 years that I learned from fucking secondhand Ralph Renee and fucking Bill Casing's drunken memoirs, all that stuff that I heard was insane ramblings of fucking trailer cat house fucking meth haven. They went to the moon. The dust proves they went to the moon. The fucking guys. And that's the best part. People are like, the moon rocks is proof we went to the moon. It's like, well, yeah, but I can't show you that. What I can show you is the physical and mechanical properties of the trajectories of the parabolic flights of the regolithic particles on the surface of the moon in the EVA footage. So if you go to like Apollo 15, 16, or 17 and you watch them kick up dirt, watch those particles as they fly in a parabolic trajectory, you can calculate the gravitational field based on that parabolic trajectory, and it's been done on YouTube. And he shows his work, he shows his math, okay? That's evidence I can show you that proves we went to the moon. Because they obviously didn't put every single piece of dust on wires. I tried to come up with ways that maybe you could reduce the weight or the mass of dust particles so that you could get them to behave as in they were in 1/6 gravity environments. But anything that I came up with is nothing but hypothetical speculation and just conjecture. It's not backed by anything at all. Why are we not on the moon today? What do you mean, here or in real life? We're about to be, Zap. They're going, well, not on the moon anyway, at least not yet. But in less than a month, they're going to be launching a free return trajectory, a manned flight around the moon. And Trump just signed executive orders to land a man on the moon no later than 2028, I believe. And so I think we're going to see a shift towards, because somebody has to eventually recognize the military advantage of the moon. Like, how can these people be so dumb for so long? The first person to militarize the moon? Oh, they have UN conventions against that. Yeah, that's never stopped them. Think about it. Think about that statement before you claim that. People are like, yeah, but the UN would stop them. It's like, have you forgot about Iraq and Afghanistan? No one fucking cared. Dude, you could go conquer shit. And when the moon is tidally locked, so it always faces the Earth. What is this? Greenland first, then the moon. Yeah. People are like, I just went to New Cokes. He's advocating conquering the moon and using it as a military base to spy on and drop bombs on the world. I'm not necessarily advocating that. I'm just saying, how has someone not done that yet? Realistically, I'm not a crazy person. I'm not saying we should do that. I'm merely asking, how has that not been done, considering all the other exploitation of resources and humanitarian rights that is executed by every government all the time? How has the moon not been conquered? There's UN resolutions against that. There's UN resolutions against using fucking white phosphorus in battle. We do that all the time. So, did you see they had plans one time to blow up the moon? That's just a dumb idea, though. Like, it's like these people are so stupid. They don't see military advantage that's right in front of them because they're too busy coming up with retarded plans like that. Why would they blow up the moon? It's a base. It's only a 3-day. You could get you can get a fucking. I guess it would be an interplanetary ballistic missile, if you're yeah, I don't know what you'd call it. Interparent body ballistic missile. You could get an interparent body ballistic missile from the moon to the Earth in like 3 days, or less. And it always faces the Earth. It's a very difficult objective it's easier to get from the moon to the Earth than it is to get from the Earth to the moon. So if you were shooting at somebody from the moon with rockets, it would be way harder for them to shoot back. Because the gravity on the lunar surface is low and gravitational parameters low, and everything that's shot out of that sphere of influence of lunar gravitational field is going to get pulled in by the Earth as the parent body gravitational field, and it's going to just go to Earth. It's just going to fall from 200,000 miles up. And no one can shoot back. Oh, we need a moon rocket every time we want to fire one round back at that moon base that keeps shooting at us. Why would they blow something like that up? It's like the Joint Chiefs of Staff are so stupid. Let me guess, it was them that came up with it, wasn't it? Zap says, did you see they had plans to blow up the moon? Was it the Joint Chiefs of Staff? Let me find out. Let me guess. It was the Joint Chiefs of Staff under Eisenhower or Kennedy came up with that plan. Don't even tell me. Or Truman, maybe. I'm calling that for an either Truman, Eisenhower, or Kennedy Joint Chiefs of Staff idea. Hit me with the facts, Zap. Anyway. It was the Air Force. Well, okay, hold on, though. Hold on. Was it an Air Force general on the Joint Chiefs of Staff? Like, how does that work? Because the Joint Chiefs of Staff has Air Force generals, right? Doesn't it? Can you find out for me? That's the great asset in the chat. There's the ZBI. Project A119. Was it planned to blow up the moon? That's the dumbest idea in the world, dude. What president were they under for that? Truman or Kennedy? The ZBI is on the case, man. ZBI is gangster shit. You need some information? Zap. Hey, Zap, pull this up. Boom. Got your info. Who was it under? What the fuck does that say? I can't read. Oh, it was Eisenhower. I called it. Because it's such an obvious one of those fucking idiot plans. Like Operation Fishbowl, like we're going to detonate nukes in the upper atmosphere. We're going to fucking nuke a fucking storm cloud. We're going to nuke both poles simultaneously and see what happens. Like these dumb ideas that they had. Because they just... It's like, why don't you use the moon as a base to shoot the countries that you don't like? They're like, no, blow the moon up first. They're not smart. They're like cavemen, some of these guys were. And that's when people are like, oh, I wish we could go back to the good old days. It's like they weren't even good old days. Those people were so dumb. Talking about. Oh, yeah, man. The fucking... People are like, oh, yeah, the American family system, everything was great in the 1950s and 60s. It's like, have you heard of this plan? Project A119. These guys were serious. I think they ran out of speed before they could pull it off. You know? Thankfully. And people are like, yeah, the 80s were so good. It's like, how would I talk to Zap about Project A119? Like, no, you'd have to learn about that at the library. No, I'm good. I'd rather live in 2026. Where everything is a keystroke away. Good old days, the good old days. When was that? The 1990s. Was that when Kurt Cobain was popular? Yeah, no. I don't want to live then. Does that mean I have to drag all my clothing behind a fucking pickup truck down the freeway at 80 miles an hour before I can wear it? No, I'm good in this year. I'm happy here. The moon's a great military advantage, and it's blown me away that it's taken them this long to capitalize on that military advantage, and I think they're starting to see it. You know when exactly the moment that I realized the military was starting to think that the moon was worth it was? You remember that old show Space Force with Steve Carell? When I saw that episode of Space Force and they had China and the U.S. fighting over land on the moon. Of course, no one's talking about this right now, right? But this was popular, you know. Nice. That good.
Tell Crystal thank you.
Okay.
I got you socks.
Is she out there?
Yeah.
Okay. Stand by, you guys.
I got matches. And she gave us 2 cigarettes.
Good. I knew you'd have fun. I lied.
Oh.
You want to watch my show? Final remarks on all that. That was the moment that I realized that the government was starting to get a clue that the moon was worth their time. Was when they aired that episode of Space Force with Steve Carell, and it had the U.S. and China fighting over the moon. And that was when I realized that, oh, okay, the deep state actually does know that going to the moon is worth the time. For a while, the gimmick was helium-3. Everyone was like, we have to go to the moon for the helium-3. And I think that was actually just code word for tidal lock nuclear advantage. Or people really thought that was the value of it. And maybe the helium-3 is important, but you have to go to the poles for it and all this other weird stuff, I think. If you just put a nuclear base on the Sea of Tranquility, no one can fuck with you. You know how hard it is to get something there? You know how easy it is to get something back from there? Nuclear base. It's like perfect advantage. And the military is maybe now just realizing it. And you'd think with all those $23 trillion, Black Ops packages that they get from us like every year for free, that they would have figured that out already. But you got to hear it on New Cokes.
You're on New Coke.
Oh shit! I dropped the vape.
You like these ones?
Yes.
They okay. Treat in the back.
No floor.
And I got these ones.
That good. What is that? Tax?
Matches.
Wow. Why you got that?
I don't know. And then this
You know
one.
what this reminds me
And
of?
trash can and hangers.
Cutting the striker strips off. Before I used matchbooks, and I didn't know any better, I used matchboxes. And I was cutting the striker strips off and putting them in a mason jar like this and then soaking them. So that little combo right there reminds me of red phosphorus.
Oh, whoa.
But you want to use books, matchbooks, for that. Because you get more of them. They're easier to rip them apart. So anyway, I think that the military eventually is going to get this thing, and I think that the U.S. is going to get, space superiority. The U.S. gets technological superiority in in its endeavors. We're in an era right now, and people can talk China this, China that. It's not true. The U.S. is the petrodollar. The U.S. makes all the fucking real deal shit. Like, if you need to basically destroy an infrastructure and replace it with a cheap carbon copy, quote, democratic infrastructure, the U.S. is very good. And we can produce stuff, and we can make steel, and we can do stuff. In China, they're just making cheap plastic that falls apart. They're stuck in their own little corner of the world ranting about how strong their missiles are, and no one cares. No one cares about China. And they're like, oh, we have a social credit system, and we're going to nuke you. And it's like, whatever, weirdo. Russia is embroiled in a nightmare in Ukraine, and they're just proving themselves to not be a military superpower. It's become very clear to anyone who's been watching, has eyes about in Ukraine, knows that Russia is not the military superpower that we've been led to believe it is. And not to say really the U.S. is too, but the U.S., look at the battleships, look at the planes, look at the spacecraft. I mean, let's be realistic. If the moon is going to get militarized, it's going to be the U.S. that does. It's not going to be China. Red bases on the moon. It would break. Have you ever used a Chinese bicycle? Now try a spacecraft. Fuck. I want China. I hope China does. I want China win. What? I hope China does. I want China to win. Dude, it's not even about, it's not about being first anyway. That's the other funny thing. All these people are like, yeah, but we got there first. It's like, when did you put an infrastructure onto it? When did you defend it? When did you weaponize it? That's what counts. Like, okay, Apollo, yeah, we got there first. No. All that Apollo did was prove that you can do it. That you can get there. And you can put men down there and you can get them back. That's all that Apollo really did for us. A lot more hard work is required before you can start saying stuff like, we have, militarized the moon. And can China get there? Yeah, for sure. They can land a little fucking robot car on there, little fucking whatever. But would you want to get on a Chinese spacecraft and land on the moon? I don't know, man. I don't fucking know about that. That thing's going to be made of ABS plastic. I'm probably good on that. And prove me wrong. Pull any item from around you that's made in China. Like, run it right now. Find an item that's made in China. I don't know what here's made in China, but I don't know. Anything you have around you is made in China. Look at that. You want to land on the moon in that? No, I'm good on that, actually. I'm going to take a U.S. spacecraft. And the U.S. will have like a fucking, a transit authority like system set up. It'll be fucking backed with like a U.S. Identification systems like APHIS and fucking, it'll be all decked out. Okay, perfect example. Look at Silicon Valley, dude. It was like nothing's there, and then now it's like every fucking thing is a computer. The U.S. crushes it when the U.S. wants to, and space is no different. People are like, yeah, but the Russians were pretty close. The Russians were not close, guys. That's the other thing. The Russians got the first dog. The Russians orbited the first man. The Russians did this first and that first. It's like, but they can't land on the moon. Why? Because their N1 moon rocket is trash. They didn't have the ability to do a better one. They'll have a McDonald's on the moon in no time. Yeah. And I'm for it. Mars, no. I'd stay here. The moon, I'll go. Later on down the line. Not right away. I wouldn't want to be one of those people that has to go to, would I right now, as a married man, get into a tin can and land on the moon and blast back off with a fucking monopropellant driven engine? Do a lunar orbit rendezvous and return to Earth in a fiery re-entry? Would I, with a wife at home, do that? No. Hell no. No. definitely not. Don't want to. Wouldn't ever want to do that anymore. I'm too old to even consider doing something fucking mentally insane like that. That's an insane thing to do. If eventually it becomes as simple as air travel, which I don't know. I don't even know if I'm ever going to go to the moon. I don't even fucking care. You heard about what? Planet 9. Dude, they say that all the time. They're like, Planet 9. It's like, how come I can't see it? I can always see Venus. Look near the moon all the time. There's a little Venus right there. And then Jupiter has been out recently. We've been seeing it. What the fuck was that? Anyway. But I'm happy for America, and I hope that America can fucking get spacefaring again, because that was a way better fucking season than this bullshit that we've been seeing. Like, let's fight about races on the streets of America and burn down our own towns. Like, that is so boring. That's your fucking news cycle. We're fighting about whose skin color is what and then burning down towns based on fucking stupid-ass verdicts from towns no one can pronounce and cares about. That's the news cycle. How about go back to space? So hopefully they fucking get that shit sorted, because the television right now is broken. So broken. Isn't it boring? It's been the same boring talking points for 10 years. Really more, but like the last 10 years has been like this really boring loop of like, politicians are lying about this, big business is lying about that. And then there was like a COVID season where it was like, for one season everyone was worried about this virus and no one fucking cares anymore. And then like the same fucking villains and the same, it's like, Trump, go away, everybody go, it's super boring. Go back to space. That was a better fucking trajectory for, back when, like, and I don't know. It would be different now. It'd be really cool right now. Did I get the COVID? I don't know. One small step for mankind. Yeah. Yeah, man, I mean, look at Neil's words. And I don't even care, like, about, but it was Neil's words. Like, Neil was just being gangster at the time anyway. I mean, who cares what he said? The purpose, now the focus should be, how do we militarize the moon and use it to our advantage? And not to go conquering back parking lot third world countries anymore. That's boring too. We don't even need to do that. We print money for free and loan it to everybody else at interest. Why the fuck are we doing oil conquest wars when we print money for free and loan it to other countries at interest? Oh, well, it's to fucking... That's why we have to do the oil contrast wars. Oh, darn it. You know what's funny about that? How true that is? Do you know the real reason why they went to Iraq and Afghanistan? You know what's the funniest thing? Everybody gets this wrong. Everybody thinks they have it all figured out, right? Let me tell you the truth. Every one of these countries that the U.S. goes into and steamrolls, it isn't because they want their resources. There's plenty of oil here in the U.S., here in Canada. There's tons of oil in Canada, guys. You don't have to go to fucking Saudi Arabia or Iraq to get it. They have tons of precious metal or the economy to back the quest to acquire some. The real reason for why specific countries seem to get taken out in a fucking Hellfire drone strike by the United States Air Force overnight is because they attempt to disconnect their banking system from the central banking system of the world. That's the actual reason. So when Iraq tried to start making oil transactions backed by the Iraqi dinar, they got blown up because You're supposed to make oil transactions on the international market in US dollars. It's the petrodollar. You have to use US dollar. Any country who tries to go against that grain, oh, by the way, they're fucking terrorists. No, we have to go blow them up. That's how the pattern is. It's not about oil. It's not oil. All that stuff's a distraction. You can get oil in Canada. Super easy. You don't need to go to Iraq and start a war for that. At all. You don't need Afghanistan to grow poppies. Those are excuses.
This is our jar.
And the funny, weird part of all this, right, is if what I'm saying is true, which it largely is true, it can be accounted for why specific countries are hit by the U.S. military machine is because of their actions relative to the central banking system. Why Iraq specifically, why Afghanistan specifically, why,
Why?
because they attempt to disconnect their economic dealings from the U.S. dollar. They try to use currencies backed by their own resources or their own financial system. They're supposed to use the U.S. system. If they don't use the U.S. system, they get blown up. What? Yeah, you want to make that?
Okay.
Okay. You do that. Can you bring me coffee?
Okay. Are we out of espresso?
Yeah. Here's a cup right here. You know.
Yes, sir.
Steel Druzer's what? What does that say? Oh, Steel Druzer's oil. Yeah, I mean,
Who's making fun of you?
I don't know. Zap's just screwing around.
I know make fun of you.
you're not making fun.
Oh.
Zap don't understand our language, I think.
Hi. I just went to dollar store. I'm the coffee assistant.
Yeah. He says hi with a bunch of I's and H's. So that's why the war's really. But the real messed up part is if what I'm saying is true, and largely is true, then you could make the point that war is about money. But is it actually even about money either? Because like I said before, the U.S. has a very, very, very epic system set up right now where we print money for free and loan it at interest both to our own country and to other countries. And this is bringing in excellent profits. And we're taxing our people and things are going really well. We can afford to drone strike whoever we want all the time, right? And people are like, oh, the U.S. economy is fucking failing. No, it's not. That's a lie, too. But anyway, then why do the wars? I guess it's because our economy is actually based on war strength.
Here you are, sir.
I love you.
I love you.
Careful, they're really hot.
No.
Okay. I guess it's all based on...
Plugged in?
Yeah, hold on. It's all based on
Plugged
war
in?
strength.
Plugged it in?
Military industrial. Yeah. I know, she really is. He said, good wife. I said, she really is.
Oh, thank you, Zep. I just got him some stuff at dollar store.
The best
Well,
wife
my
ever.
friend did. Anyway.
So,
What are we talking about?
we started with Bart Sibrel. Somehow got into the moon landing hoax. And then talking about returning to the moon and its military advantage in geopolitics. But I want to get away from all that stuff. Like, the Bart Sibrel thing because we were on a good one with Bart Sibrel. I don't want Bart Sibrel to see all this and be like, and you know he will too. That's the thing. He'll see this. Bart Sibrel will see this and be like, "Oh, that kid," and he'll be all pissed off and just be all pissy. And it's like, that's what I'm saying, Bart. Don't act like that. And people would love to hear about what your funny thing happened on the way to the moon is. You know, just tone it down. You have to remember who your fucking audience is here now. Like, you guys know I'm trolling when I say crazy shit, but if you say crazy shit and either no one knows you're trolling or you're not trolling, you get a real bad reputation online. You just really do. You know, look at Tom Voigt. Though arguably Tom Voigt's issues stem from other transgressions, like his ban calculator that he has. Or who else is just unpleasant and crazy online? Because that's where Bart Sibrel is at this point. Danny Jones, clearly Danny Jones didn't know Bart Sibrel when he invited him on. Because I was 14 years old when I interacted with Bart Sibrel, and I couldn't stand him. So anybody who's a professional podcaster, who runs a radio show, who does this stuff, who's talked to Bart Sibrel for longer than an hour, that has any brain power, they're not going to want to talk to Bart Sibrel anymore. Nobody likes Bart Sibrel. And so then Danny Jones is like, oh, Bart Sibrel and Charlie Duke. What a good combo. Bart Sibrel isn't even the moon hoaxer that I would want to bring on for that. You know.
I like better up here.
What does he say?
More better.
Tom Law?
More better.
Tom Law? You know. So I don't think that Danny Jones... Oh, Tom Voigt, yeah. I know, I'm hard on Tom Voigt, but Tom Voigt's issues are more just because he can't stop fucking banning people all the fucking time. And he's very angry. You know. I've said before that I could understand... Vape ban. I could understand... Tom Voigt's cynical, jaded demeanor. But at a certain point, you gotta lighten up too, and I think that's hard to do when you run a website called ZodiacKiller.com. Like if I had to run ZodiacKiller.com for 30 years, like he has, I'd be so over it. I'm over it in like 3 years. Imagine running that website for 30 fucking years. No, I'm gonna. So some of these people just need to lighten up, and Bart Sibrel's the same way. Bart Sibrel has been chasing astronauts around with the same documentary he made 27 years ago, yelling at people and getting in their faces, shoving cameras in their faces. It's like, dude, relax. You have a better chance at convincing people that the moon landings didn't happen if you stop trying to fucking choke out Neil Armstrong. And he's still doing it. He is yelling at Charlie Duke on that show, by the way. Go watch the show. He's basically yelling at Charlie Duke. He's getting heated with him. And Danny shuts it down real fast. Danny's like, hold on, let's get one thing straight. Calling people liars. He fucking lays the law down on Bart Sibrel at one point, because Bart Sibrel's getting out of hand. Bart Sibrel has always been out of hand. Why do you think Buzz Aldrin punched him in the face? It's like Danny had no idea who he was bringing onto his show, man. Anybody who's interacted with Bart Sibrel would have been like, don't do it. He didn't ask one of us. Danny never came to me, obviously, because, you know, a lot of people don't know that I have a history with Bart Sibrel. But no one came to any of us and said, hey, should Bart Sibrel go on the Danny Jones show with Charlie Duke in person? No. Definitely not. Bart Sibrel shouldn't even have a computer. He should have got out. He should have got out like 10 years ago to save the sanity. Oh, who? Tom Voigt? Dude, Tom Voigt is a lost cause, man. Even if he got out 10 years ago, let's say Tom Voigt quit the game 10 years ago, that would still put him in charge of ZodiacKiller.com for 17 years, 15 years. You know how much damage that does in that amount of time? No, you gotta be careful with that kind of stuff. I think Tom Voigt's been gone for a very, very long time, folks. Sadly. You had the VIP?
No,
I thought you did.
maybe.
In your hand?
No.
You left it out there? You know, like Bart, a year and a half ago, dude, a year and a half ago, if you came to me and you said the Earth is a globe and they went to the moon, I would have been like, no, they didn't, and it's not. I would have said they didn't, and it's not a globe. It's not a globe, and they didn't go to the moon. You see how? Uh-oh. It's stolen? Really? Check everywhere you've been. You didn't change pants or anything? Mm-mm. I had it when you came back. Okay. You know, if you came to me a year and a half ago and you said the Earth is a globe and we landed on the moon, I'd be like, no, it's not, and no, we didn't. But at the same time, we can all have a laugh about it. And now I don't think that, and I'm not chasing astronauts around trying to get them to swear on the Bible they walked on the moon. That's crazy person behavior, and it doesn't look good, Bart. And he's been doing this for 27 years, chasing astronauts around. He's still doing it. He's chasing astronauts around on podcasts and trying to confront them with his fucking footage that he has, that he claims he got leaked from the CIA or some shit. He has like a whistleblower from some military base that has, it's not relevant anyways, like this whistleblower. Dude, his new thing, Bart's been running around, Bart hangs on to one thing for a really, really long time. So his, quote, new thing, which has been out for, I'd say maybe about 8 years, 9 years or so, has been this old guy telling his life story, and he's like, my dad told me they brought a bunch of sand and concrete in to fake the moon landings, blah, 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 blah. Well, that's a really cool, awesome, fun story, except it doesn't account for why the dust behaves with the trajectory mechanics of lunar gravity in the footage that we have from the moon landings. If it's all sand and concrete, which, yes, you could have done that for Apollo 11, but you can't do that on Apollo 15, 16, 17 because the footage quality is too good. And you can see the dust going like this. From barely, like, the astronauts will barely disturb the soil, the regolith, right? And in these arcs, these parabolic showering arcs of moon dust, regolith, will go like this. Long distances from barely being disturbed. So no, Bart, you can't do that with a bunch of concrete and sand. And even if you could, you'd have to use particle sizes that are pretty small. You'd have dust clouds. You don't have any dust clouds in any of the Apollo EVAs. Not one dust cloud in fucking hundreds of hours of footage, Bart. So I don't believe your whistleblower. And these old whistleblower, well, the whistleblower is lying or Charlie Duke is. Well, the whistleblower's lying then. Because Charlie Duke's testimony aligns with the dust evidence. So Bart needs to calm down. And Bart's chasing people around like this is some hard-hitting fucking smoking gun shit. It's like, Bart, you've been doing this long enough to have looked at the dust. Look at the dust, Bart. That's what people need to start saying to these people. And no one knows to say it. Nobody knows to say this, but it's the one thing to shut down the... And it was a big issue for me as a flat earther when I was a flat earther. I had to come up with all kinds of fanciful ideas about how they might have reduced the mass of the dust in the footage. Never tested any of it, never proved any of it, so really can't stand by it. Really, you know, you'd have to test it, and even then there's other issues about why we went to the moon. As Danny Hendren would say, we went to the moon. But you know why Apollo went to the moon, and Bart won't look at that. Look at the dust evidence, Bart. If let's see, sup kid, I stole it all. If I convince you nukes are real, my work here will be done. I'm too high for this shit. What's up, Polly Wallets? Yeah, I mean, but, well, Zap, what about 9/11? You still haven't got me on 9/11. Are you one of these fucking people in the jet fuel thing? That ridiculous jet fuel theory? No. Does anyone believe that theory anymore, actually, now that I think about this? What kind of a question is that? Does anyone still believe that theory? It's jet fuel. The moon landings, Bart's
But anyway,
Bart's approaching the moon landings. Nah, Tom does? Does he really? Ugh. How can you believe that? I thought it was just it's such a done issue, isn't it? So obviously not jet fuel. I feel like we should no, this, I don't know, it's gonna turn and take over the whole stream if I do that. Yeah, he said in an he can no longer fly on planes because of 9/11. Yeah, so he believes planes were used. Most people believe planes were used. I don't believe planes were even there. I think those were projections in the sky. Because I don't think that airplanes can fly that fast at that altitude. It's not realistic. It's a cartoon. It's like a Wile E. Coyote. And have you seen the holes that the planes punched into the towers? So the plane comes down at like cartoon comic book. For sure, yeah. Airplanes don't fly that fast, that low, Zap. Or you didn't know this about me? I don't think those are real airplanes. Now, I think the people on those flights, like I have a flight manifest of the passengers. I think all those people did die on 9/11. Did they die in an airplane crashing into the tower? No. But I think that they were diverted because look at Operation Northwoods. The Joint Chiefs of Staff with Kennedy and the CIA and all these guys already planned 9/11 years ago. And part of their plan was to take over the jet. How they die then? Oh, that's where it gets really dark. So now most of this stuff is written about on government documents. But let me tell you why they had to do this, really. If they were going to do 9/11. They diverted those aircraft. Remember when the transponders turned off and no one knew for a short period of time where any of the aircraft were? This happened in each one of the hijacked flights on 9/11. There's a period of time after the hijacking occurred, quote unquote, and the hijacking occurs on the radar, where all the plane's transponders will turn off and they're missing for a short period of time. During that period of time, simulated false data is then overriding the original data and is being streamed back to air traffic controllers or into radar operators, and people like that are reading fake. Yeah. They're reading fake simulation data, okay? The real aircraft are diverted to private military airfields where the crews and the passengers are debarked from the aircraft, lined up along a mass grave, and shot and killed. In some cases, passengers removed from these aircraft were forced, presumably under duress, to make phone calls, which we can hear if you look up 9/11 airplane phone calls. It's very famous. There's people talking to their loved ones from the aircraft. Those calls were made on the ground. Those are propaganda. You can't do that anyway, but that's a whole other argument. That's a whole other thing. After the plane now has got its fake position on radar.
There's some piggy running going on.
Controllers then see the simulated aircraft data coming in towards the World Trade Center. At this time, some kind of unknown technology is responsible, I believe, for the witness reports that occurred on the ground that day. I think that the technology can be traced back to Project Bluebeam and tests that were run in the Gulf War in 1991, with projecting images in the sky. And I think that they can very easily make an airplane projection. There's some information going about blue beam and using holograms for psychological warfare. But I think that was what was done on 9/11. Because at the end of the day, you can't get a 737 to fly 500 miles an hour at 700-foot altitude. It's impossible. So that's just didn't happen. Can't happen. But yet, it's seen on footage happening. So those aren't real airplanes. Now, dude, the whole thing is such a thing. Martian McLennan and how you had to hit specific parts of the towers had to get hit, and if you don't use a real if you do use a real aircraft, you have no way to predict where it's going to hit, so therefore it becomes very risky, so therefore use fake planes, blah 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 blah. Yeah, I'm a no planers app. I've been a no planer for years. What's really interesting in no plane theory is that some witnesses on the ground said they saw an airplane and some didn't. There's a bunch of witness reports from the streets of 9/11, like within the minutes after the collision or the explosion in the towers, of witnesses saying, no, we didn't see an airplane, there was just a bomb went off. Like, there's tons of reports like that. There's just as many reports like that as there are people saying they saw something. So what was seen? I don't really know. Now, they claim that what was seen that day was what we saw on television. What we saw on television can't happen because airplanes can't do that. They can't do that. Watch that footage again. Actually watch that, and you're going to be like, oh, wait a minute. Yeah, that can't happen. What's that famous one of the South Tower impact where the plane comes in like right over the camera and it's just a fucking broadside of the barn shot, goes right into the tower, like blowing chickens from the coop to the barnyard? Aircraft fucking comes in fucking like this and punches a straight hole. Like that's not real. Aircrafts don't do that. They would crumple. There would be explosive. There would be fire on the surface of the building. There would be wreckage down below. It doesn't just dissolve into the building as if it was not even there. Because it wasn't there. Like Hauptmann. Neither of them were there. But to see how it becomes such a whole conversation. The moon stuff's more fun at least because you can, less people died. That's another thing. If Bart Sibrel were like really freaking out about 9/11, that would be like kind of acceptable. But it's just the moon landings, dude. Calm down. You don't have to fucking give Neil Armstrong fucking gout chasing him around, dude. Swear on the Bible that you walked on the moon. But it is shitty that Neil wouldn't do it. And Neil's like, no, I'm not doing it. And he's like, how much money did he have for him? Like $10,000. He's like, I'll give $10,000 to a charity of your choice if you just put your hand on the Bible and swear to God that you walked on the moon. And Neil Armstrong was like, no. It's like, dude, the charities could have used that money, Neil. That's fucked up. People are like, yeah, but he can't dignify that with a response. It's like, who cares about that? Give the money to the kids. You're overthinking this one, bro. Can we hear the Allen song? No. No. Go listen to it. It's on my channel. Go listen to New Cokes.
Your music fans are here. Yay! You're so good, baby. I love you. Most being prowler. Sponsored by Caffeine.
Neil totally should have taken the money, though. I don't know why he didn't. That's one of those things I'll just never understand. But some of the astronauts did do it. And the funny part about it is that with Astronauts Gone Wild, he's chasing these old guys around, these poor old men who should be in fucking senior living care centers. Like Ed Mitchell almost is. His son's there taking care of him during the video. And Bart Sibrel's chasing these guys around, and he goes, swear on the Bible that you walked on the moon. Swear on the Bible that you walked on the moon. And the best part is that he was gaining access to these people's houses and offices on false pretenses. He was telling them that he was like a journalist And he was there to show some never-before-seen footage from the moon landings, and the television stations had asked him to come in and talk to the astronauts and get their reactions when they see this new, never-before-seen footage. So he pulls them all in and starts interviewing them, making them think they're there talking about the moon landings, everything's all hunky-dory, and then, boom, he pulls out his weirdo moon landing hoaxer fucking bullshit and just hits them left field. And some of the astronauts did swear on the Bible that they walked on the moon, and you don't hear about those ones because he's too busy showing you that Buzz punched him in the face, you know. But some of the astronauts did do it, and I love that movie, and it would be super fucking funny movie if he was trolling. It's a great movie. You know, if you're old enough, I'm sure most of my viewers remember when we were younger, there would be on late night television, like after TV ended, it would all be infomercials, and they would have like those advertisements for Girls Gone Wild. So that was right about the same time that Bart Sibrel made Astronauts Gone Wild, and that's hilarious. That's an awesome, funny fucking name for a movie. Astronauts Gone Wild. I love it. If you're joking. You have to be joking for it to work. And you can be joking and think the moon landings were faked. You know, there is actually a middle ground, Bart. It's like he thinks, and people have a tendency to do this. They'll be like, well, New Coke says just be joking. But then people will not take me seriously. It's like I'm joking all the time, but you guys know what I think about certain cases and certain things. It's basically what it is, Bart, is lighten up. Because the idea is that you're freaking out. For real, chasing the astronauts around. It's even when I get heated on this stream and I go into my fucking rants and stuff like that, at least I'm not chasing astronauts around. What kind of a crazy person acts like that? Can you imagine? And he's like, yeah, this is got some really good footage today. What'd you do? I chased around Edgar Mitchell. Got kicked out of Edgar Mitchell's house. What? You know. What'd you do today? I got kicked out of Alan Bean's house. How'd you do that? Well, I ambushed him with conspiracy theories. Alan Bean was the one who totally swore on the fucking Bible. And he does it, and Bart says to him, fucking swear under penalty of perjury. Oh, nice. And treason. And he goes, treason? What's that? And he says, treason's when you do something fraudulent to the taxpayers. He says, that's not what treason is. He says, I'm not swearing on that, but I'll swear on everything else, you know, that I walked on the moon. And you don't hear that one, you know, get thrown around by Sibrel. What's his assumption? That these people are just devil-worshipping liars, I guess. You know, and I'm sure, you know, because he's called it a satanic lie. I thought Sibrel was a flat earther for a long period of time. If Don Chaney was around, do you think Drew Beeson would chase him around? Oh, no. No. I don't think that Drew Beeson is that annoying. I really don't. I think Drew Beeson's a nice guy. You know, I see him as the type who would have a lot to say about Chaney if Chaney were alive and around, but might not necessarily be showing up at his place of residence or his workplace and swear on the Bible he's not the Zodiac killer. You know, I don't think Drew Beeson is fucking insane like that. Like, it's the same concept. Can you imagine the reaction? Dude, there's Zodiac suspects who are still alive. You know? Yeah. There's Zodiac suspects who are still alive. That some of these guys, like fucking Ray Grant. Do you remember what Ray Grant did with the mail bombing thing? Oh my god, it's the funniest story in Zodiac lore ever that ever happened. Ray Grant, you know this story, Zap, I'm sure. But for the viewer who doesn't, Ray Grant thought that some guy was the Zodiac killer. So he believed that he could mathematically prove that some guy was the Zodiac killer. So he printed up like a bunch of flyers and pamphlets and written documents and literature about how this person was the Zodiac killer. And then mailed it to all of his neighbors and all of his friends and all of his co-workers and his employer and all this other crazy shit, right? What does that say? And the reaction that Ray Grant got from that was negative. And people generally were like, that wasn't cool. And as far as I know, I think that Ray Grant has made a public, amends in some form about, I'm not sure how that was ever, resolved. I'm not here to be a judge of that. But the community was like, that's a crazy thing to do there, Ray Grant. Bart Sibrel is doing crazy stuff like that. And he wants to be seen as this investigative journalist and as this professional fucking skeptical guy who's going on podcasts, who's went on Fox News, who went on all these places. And he's interviewed the astronauts and he's done, he's an investigative journalist. But he's a crazy person. And you just can't do that, man. No one's going to take you seriously. Then people are like, yeah, but if you're trolling, you're not taking yourself seriously. It's like, trolling is an art form to take seriously. I had great mentors, though. I'm not saying I'm such a great troll, but I was hanging out with Russell League and Mayo, those guys funny. Those guys were so fucking funny, it's unbelievable. I wish I could perform like they could trolling. It was so fucking funny. The things that they would come up with, the ideas that they had, and the way that they just fucking rode that marketing tidal wave. Like the Black Messiah and Danny D'Antalion taking advantage of the anonymous cybercrime bullshit fucking, phase that society was in to basically be the bad guys in that Wild West. There was when computer hacking was at its height, 2011, 2013, that kind of era. Really 2011, 12, 13. When all that was going down, the internet was the Wild West, and the Wild West needs its villains. Anonymous were a bunch of wobblers because everybody was like the bad guys kind of liked them, and the good guys who were honestly activists, freedom activists, thought it was cool, and they jumped on the bandwagon and they could claim some sense of social justice because of being affiliated with Anonymous. It was like a badge of honor, blah blah blah. I'm a protester, I work with Anonymous. Russell League was just like, oh fuck, get away from those guys. They were just internet terrorists, really. And I thought they were hilarious. They were way funnier than Lulsec. Lulsec thought it was funny, but it wasn't even. What is it?
No oven. What do I do? Chocolate cake.
Oh, make it in the oven. Put it in like a pan.
On the stove?
No, maybe. Or in the oven, the toaster oven.
In what container?
I don't know. I don't know what the containers are out there, but go check it out. I think you can find something. No, make.
It has rice.
Oh, definitely don't then. Don't at all.
I put pudding in it too.
Maybe do it on the stove then, or go ask and see if the toaster oven thing can make that. If it can't, then yeah. So those guys were so funny though.
Smoke a cigarette?
What?
You want to smoke a cigarette?
Not yet. Do you want to?
Yeah.
Okay. But it's an art form, you know. If you ask Andrew Boyette today, I would love to ask Andrew Boyette today. And I have the ability to. I'm just too fucking lazy to do it. Hopefully he'll see this video. I kind of want to send it to him in the first place. It's a good one. But you know, Andrew Boyette, like, what do you think of your historical craft as a troll? Like, how you built your craft, how you practiced it as a troll, how you operated on the internet and stuff like that. Do you take some kind of an actual genuine pride in that? And, you know, and I think that a lot of us do, you know, if we're internet trolls, that we have, it's an art form, you know. You have to really internet trolling, like, the more you put yourself behind what you're saying, the more legitimized you become, even as an internet troll. People are more inclined to be like, oh, that guy's saying rational stuff, because he's not chasing astronauts around with the Bible. So I went to college in Mars to become a troll. Oh, for 4 years to become a troll. Fuck, that's what I did, but not at college. It took a hell of a lot longer. Like, the stuff I was saying when I was in Anonymous wasn't even funny. It was so dumb. It was like, oh, freedom. Fuck the internet's freedom.
I didn't cook the rice long enough.
You did it? Alright, good night, everybody.